thank you was going to be very difficult to follow, but I'm going to follow him. It's going to be short because I have a leg full of titanium and steel and plastic from a hip replacement, and it's a little difficult, and as you can tell, I'm a little slow, but only in that area. No, I'll stand as long as I can, and when I can't, I'll move.
You're on the stage.
No, I want a glass of water. I feel extremely complimented and very, very warmly received to get this particular award associated with John Oliver Killens, who has, there we go, fine, thank you. It's especially important to me to be able to come here and accept this Lifetime Achievement Award from this center. I feel at home. I always do when I come to Brooklyn. I don't know why. Probably do it more often. But I wanted to say a few things. I know, as you do, that music was one art form that really and truly kept us alive. And other art forms came along to add to the development and the evolution and the breadth of music, moving from one kind to another, along with dance, along with chants, along with narrative, along with stories within the music. And then there came a time when the stories themselves kept us alive. You know that states and regimes always attack the artists first when they want to oppress, suppress, and control bodies. And they're right to start there, because the artists do have an enormous responsibility and insight and a certain level of profundity that can stir up the world, the society, the community, and the people. I write the way I do because I am convinced that Black people are the most discriminating, the most difficult, the most demanding audience in the world. And you can try to cheat them and to go for the easy, but in fact, you will get pulled off the stage at various and sundry Apollos if you are not up to the level of the sophistication of the audience. So knowing that, I have to be careful with language. I have to understand the characters, and I have to rely on their authenticity to know whether or not I am in the right field. If the people in the book read the book, would they like it or not? They are the last ones to say, yes, this is right, Miss Morrison, or no, it's not, or this is not my name. Those are the criteria that I work with when I'm doing fiction. But I wanted to mention one other area of my literary life that was touched upon by Sonia, which has to do with the years I spent as an editor. I joined the publishing company in 1965. I started writing the first book around 1966. Published it, I think, in 1970. Before that, before the publication of the first book that I wrote, The Bluest Eye, there had been very few others that I knew about. I knew Alice Walker published before me, and Maya Angelou published before me, and Paula Marshall's Brown Girl, Brown Stones, and that book had come out before. But I quickly understood that the industry, the publishing industry, was interested in my editing certain big name books like Muhammad Ali, which I did, or Angela Davis, which I did, and to try to ferret, out other books, say, Roots, which was supposed to be published by Doubleday. They wanted to pull that away. But the point is that they were not interested in unknown or not well-known literary books at all. And the reason they were not interested was what you can imagine. They believed that there was no black readership. That whether they published them or not, they could not rely for profit on what they called one side of the street. That is to say, they would have to appeal, as an Ali biography would, or Angela Davis biography would, to white readers. Because you can't make money publishing black books for black people. Sure. So I thought, well, maybe they're not good enough. That is to say, maybe the black reader doesn't exist because they haven't had anything really first rate in a long time to satisfy them. So I experimented with something that's been reissued recently called the Black Book. And I tried to pull together narrative, advertisements, folklore, sheets of music, all sorts of things that were representative of the centuries that black people had been here, and put it in a very beautifully designed book, and see whether or not it would appeal to a general audience of black people. Well, it did. It existed for 12 editions, and this year, I think, has been reissued by some other people. So that meant that I would have to depend on other people to show me manuscript. I would not be able to rely on agents because they didn't have these books. So that if I published something by Gail Jones or Toni K. Bambara or Lucille Clifton or whomever, I would have to go off the main street and to consistently look for that level of elegance and profundity and seriousness in fiction, which was my particular area. And when I learned that I could indeed persuade not just the company and the sales department, but gather together little by little and over time a collection of books that I had published that never were breakout books, but still make up an extraordinary list of writers of whom I am extremely proud. Extremely proud. So it is in the name of what I gather is those writers whose books still exist, and particularly for what I am increasingly excited about, which is the number of new, young, and maybe not so young, but certainly new, African-American writers that are coming on the scene. Extraordinary, extraordinary writers. And whether you like it or not, I am going to take a little credit for being among you as a writer, and also someone who was a pioneer in editing.